Hello everybody, hello my friends, welcome for another edition of the video productions by the Artelino company. Well, first, what's the Artelino company? Well, I'm the owner. This is a little family company which was established in 2001, and since then we've sold art prints, mostly Japanese prints, in weekly online auctions. And this video is practically only about this print with a Christian subject, and therefore the title, Stories from the Bible. And of course I also want to talk about the artist, and then I want to talk a little bit about the history of Christianity in Japan. Yeah, sometimes these videos about Japanese prints, they turn under my hosting sometimes into a history lesson. Yeah, I'm very interested in looking behind the pure picture of Japanese prints, because that's often so interesting and very often from a historical point of view. Okay, but back now to this print and to the artist. A Christian subject and a Japanese print, very unusual. And whenever you see a modern print with a Christian subject like this one, you can be nearly 100% sure the artist's name is Sadao Watanabe, born 1913. It must be him. Sadao Watanabe was born in Tokyo, and when his father died, he was only 10 years old. Well, then he was sent to an apprenticeship with a textile dyer with the name of Serizawa Keisuke. You must know, textile dyeing in Japanese is regarded as an art, just like printmaking, like this. And the technique, textile dyeing and printmaking, is somewhat similar, pretty similar, somewhat similar. And it's called in Japanese kapatsuri, and this is what we call in the Western printmaking environment stencil printmaking. So stencil printmaking, kapatsuri, and this is the technique of Sadao Watanabe. But how come that he makes exclusively subjects with scenes from the Bible? I haven't seen not even one print by Sadao Watanabe that shows something else than a Christian subject, a scene from the Bible. How come? Well, the guy, first of all, was influenced by a school teacher. And one day he became severely ill with tuberculosis when he was still a youngster. And while still lying in bed and hoping for recovery, tuberculosis is not so funny, he vowed to study the Bible and spread the Christian story through artwork. Yeah, and Sadao recovered, and he kept his word until the end of his life. Very unusual story. And you see, the style, it's an unusual mixture. It's a mixture of modern Western art, of Japanese folk art, and old Buddhist painting. And the funny thing about Sadao Watanabe is he transforms the story of the Bible into a Japanese environment. Here it's not so visible. This shows the flight to Egypt. But for instance, there's a print design by Sadao Watanabe that shows Jesus at the Last Supper, Jesus eating then, if you are familiar with that story, Last Supper, together Jesus and his disciples, they ate food. And Sadao Watanabe shows these scenes, how they eat Japanese food, the Last Supper, with chopsticks, yeah? Crazy, yeah? You must have this idea, fantastic. Yeah, so much about Sadao Watanabe, but now let me talk a little bit about the background, Christianity in Japan. when did Christianity come to Japan? It was in 1543 when Portuguese missionaries landed on Kyushu Island in the southern part of Japan. And they were Jesuits, and they wanted to introduce Christianity in Japan, missionaries, but they also brought firearms with them. And at that time, again, 1543, there was civil war in Japan, but there was one powerful warlord, and he was the shogun at that time, with the name of Oda Nobunaga. And Oda Nobunaga saw the firearms. The Japanese, before the landing of these missionaries, they didn't know firearms. And Oda Nobunaga, I told you, civil war, and he had a problem with powerful Buddhist cloisters. Yeah, at that time the Buddhist monks, they were not so peaceful, they were not pacifists, they were powerful and they were pugnacious. So Oda Nobunaga, a reckless guy, yeah, but a smart guy. He used these Buddhist missionaries as a counterbalance towards these Buddhist cloisters, and so he supported them in spreading Christianity in Japan, and this was especially successful, the spreading of Christianity among the lower classes in Japan. And the following shoguns after Oda Nobunaga, these were Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu. Things changed, and Christianity was banned in Japan. Christians were persecuted, rather cruel methods and harsh methods to near extinction. Only in northern Japan, in some rural areas, Christianity could survive. And today only 1% of the Japanese population belongs to a Christian denomination. Well, back to this print, we have it in the current auction, and of course we want to sell it to you, yeah? When you guys always think we are social media and we do this all for your pleasure, all these articles and videos. No, we do it to support our auctions, to encourage you to bid. So don't forget that. Huh? Anyway, this is a wonderful print, rather large. Well, read the descriptions in our catalog. And it's a limited edition, and it's signed and numbered by the artist, and also dated in white ink, white ink. Usually the signature on modern prints is in pencil. Sadao Watanabe often used a colored background, and there the signature in pencil, you wouldn't recognize it. So he used white ink. You see here Sadao Watanabe, here the date 1974, and here the edition size 70, and this is the edition number 17. Flight to Egypt in the current auction available. Take a look at our auction catalog. And of course, I would also be pleased to see you in our next auction. But even more pleased to see a bid or many bids, counter bids on this wonderful print, which is, by the way, rare. And this is a rather famous artist. By the way, Lyndon B. Johnson, one of the former presidents, US presidents, I think even had hung it up in the White House. And it's in many famous museums all over the world. Got the message? Wonderful. Thank you. Take care of yourself, and goodbye, and see you for our next video.